how the players responded this week, Justin, on the track?
Well, we haven't done a heap, so we'll find out today. But they were good in review. We went through it pretty thoroughly, and we reviewed it and we're ready to move on.
Is it a game when you're reviewing it you learnt a bit from?
Oh, you learn from every game. Yeah, so whether we learnt more from this one or not, I don't know. We're pretty clear that we didn't get some things right. Pretty clear that the way we fought the game out was really strong and is a sign of who we want to be. So take plenty out of that part as well.
You'd won 4 straight going into the bye, and then you had the bye. Did you lose momentum, do you think?
Oh, I don't think so. It's just one game. Well, probably one half footy we didn't execute well enough. So, we'll bounce back this week and, put on a good performance against GWS.
Do you have an update on Sean Darcy's hammy?
He's going to miss this week, and we're really confident that he'll get up for next week. It was touch and go this week. Probably chose a conservative route. So we'll get him back next week, hopefully.
Do you stick with the same ruck combo, or do you bring in someone like a Liam Reedy who's going pretty well on the walk?
No, I think the ruck combo was competitive on the weekend. I thought Jacko competed really well, followed up really well, and I thought Josh Tracy gave us a really good contest in there. He lacks a little bit of height for a true ruckman, but he lacks nothing in the way he competes and the way he follows up at ground level. So I didn't think that was our biggest issue in the game. How we complement our forward line will be a discussion at selection.
Are the wings still a bit of an issue? It feels like you've rolled through a few guys there but haven't quite sort of settled.
No, not really. No. We think, obviously with Aishi missing this week, we're going to have to make some changes, but I think I've been pretty happy with the wingers. Driz, a couple of our younger players probably structurally weren't great on the weekend, but I think Driz is starting to find some form based on the Melbourne game and what he did pre-bye. So, we've been pretty solid with Driz and Aishi.
Is Carl Warner a chance for a sub debut? It was obviously the travelling emergency last time you went away.
Yeah, he's a chance. He's been in good form. There's still some things in his game that he can work on at Peel, and feel like his attention detail with some of those things has been really strong. He's put his hand up. Obviously, travelled with us and been an emergency for a while, so his name will come up.
So just going back to Saturday's game, how much do you think the conditions played a factor, playing in the wet, trying to be clean around the contest and so forth?
They definitely played a role in it. Although, we didn't handle the conditions as well as we've been handling dry, and, they're probably more mature bodies, and, the amount of experience they've had in big games and wet games probably, was more than us and showed us up in that area. A little bit of it was structure. A little bit of it was not handling conditions. But having said that, I thought it was one of our better wet weather performances. We've done a little bit of work on it. As much as you can in the classroom, I suppose. We haven't had a wet training session for a while. And even last week, main train was the only day of the week it didn't rain, or part of the week it didn't rain. But, I thought, it was still wet in the second half and we were able to adapt. So it was probably just as much a few structural things that let us down rather than the ball handling, even though that did contribute to a bit of field position against in the first quarter.
How have you viewed the form of Emmett and Corbett, I guess their readiness for AFL if you do need another marking target?
Tommy's probably a bit more of a smaller forward. He's come along week after week, improving aspects of his game to the point where we've been putting him in the midfield down at Peel as well, so he's been really good. And Corbs has been close as well. I mean, all the guys that you're mentioning at Peel have been in the emergencies along with Raz. So we've got some calls to be made at selection. We're pretty confident Sonny will get through training and come back into the team, and we get Jager back from suspension as well, which is going to be a bonus.
How's Neil handling being out of the team? He's one of those, not impatient, but I'm sure he'd be desperate to get back into the AFL side. Yeah, he's handling it really well. Like all our guys at Peel that are in good form and aren't quite getting the opportunities they'd like at the moment. Sometimes externally it's like viewed as it's viewed as a step back,
going back to Peel, but Raz is in his second year of senior footy. He hasn't played 2 years of senior footy yet. We got drafted him out of Hale, pretty much, and underage level. So he's improving his game no matter what level he's playing at. So and that's a view we take of all our younger players. Carl's been in great form, but he's still got some things in his game he needs to work on, and they're all embracing that. And we've spoken to them about making sure that they keep approaching their footy with the right mindset, so that when an opportunity does come up, they're ready for it. And all the guys we've mentioned have been doing that really well.
What have you made of the Giants this year?
Probably a little bit inconsistent at the start of the year with new coach and new game plan, but they've really got going. They had an impressive win against Geelong down at Cardinia Park. It's not called Cardinia Park anymore, but Cardinia Park. And they've been really competitive the last month, 6 weeks, even in their losses. So I've been really impressed with their contest and pressure work. They got some ball movement going from their back half, but their front half game is really strong.
Have you been revisiting? I think we spoke about it a little while ago about revisiting sort of the starts of your games. Has that sort of been a bit of a focus?
Not really, because sometimes when you talk about things and make a big thing out of them, you actually go worse. So we've probably talked about our starts enough, and I thought we started and jumped into the game really well on the weekend. Like our first 10 minutes was as good as you could have hoped for, except for hitting the scoreboard. And then, the basics let us down, which cost us field position, and that field position cost us scores. So, we just keep working on the process rather than labelling it as first quarters or this and that.
Sorry.
Yep.
Mansell, his three-match ban. What do you make of that, and how's James Aish going?
Aishi's going well. There's a lot of boxes he needs to tick in his progression from concussion. And the tribunal, I don't really want to comment on that because I don't really know the ins and outs. I didn't follow the case, minute by minute. But what I can say holistically is that we're asking our players to make split-second decisions. Then sometimes you're going to get those decisions wrong. And I think overall the AFL's mantra of protecting the head is right. And as we try and reach a water level where it's acceptable in our game, there's going to be some frustrations around players getting suspended or free kicks against. So we just got to have to deal with those frustrations until we find the right level.
Is Aish expected to miss 2 weeks?
No. He could miss one. This isn't Aishi's first concussion though, so we'll take extra precaution and make sure we get him right.
But 2 weeks was the estimation given by doctors.
And I'm a senior coach and hoping for best case scenario, but given Aishi's history, probably situations that he's had in the past, he could miss more than 2. So you just it's unpredictability with with concussion. So like I've said before, the AFL set out a really strong protocol for players to return, and Aishi, like all players who have been concussed, will have to step through each of those and tick each of those boxes off.
I'm not sure how much education or how much focus do you put on the tackling technique of protecting the head during your training sessions, or is it just something that the players need to sort of absorb the messaging from the AFL?
Well, absorb the messaging from us as well internally, and the AFL. It's a really tricky one to talk about it or to train, because we don't necessarily tackle each other at training with the same intensity and ferocity that you tackle opposition with, because you tend to look after your teammates more, and we don't tackle teammates to ground. So it is a difficult one to practice at training. We'll continue to talk about how we lock up arms and that type of thing. And we'll, like I said before, we'll find the level that the AFL accept, and players are pretty good at adapting, I reckon, to these sorts of things. So we'll get there.
Have you noticed any, I guess, reluctance or hesitancy so far with your players tackling?
Nah.
What would be your response as a senior coach if that started to creep into the game a bit with your guys?
There'd be a certain level of understanding. Then we'll just coach them through that.
Sam Strakowski signing a 2-year extension. How important is he going to be moving forward with this forward line?
Yeah, he's a high level player for us. He's probably underestimated outside the footy club, but internally, some of the things he does with his defensive acts and the layers he's added to his offense, but also the layers he's added to his leadership. He's in the leadership group for the first time, so he's a valued member of the club, and great to have him on board for another couple.
And just in terms of the forward line, with Amos and Tracy starting to find their feet, like he Schultz in there too, do you feel like the forward line's sort of set for the next 3-4 years, just trying to build around those blokes?
Yeah, somewhat. Yep. We'll continue to look at our list, but yeah, we've got a good core group of younger players there that, we're looking to develop and work together and, score some goals.
Who are the contenders for Toby Green this weekend? Do you throw a Brandon Walker on him? Or?
Oh, we'll work that out later.
How's Chapman's hamstring going?
Going well. Yeah, he's inside a month now, I think, so until his return. Yeah, and he's been flying around at training for a while now, so it'd be good to get him back.
2-3 weeks? Anything more specific than that?
What did we say, 10?
I can't remember the list.
3 or 4, I think it's about 3 or 4 weeks.
2 to 3, I think.
Yeah.
All right, 10's glass half full.
Back this week.
Squeeze him in. Get on you guys.
Thanks.
Girls, thank you.